Hi, everybody. Lots of people have asked how moving is going, and the answer is not. It's fine. It's going to be fine. I am here to talk about a couple of things that I think are going to be, I don't know, they've been transformational for me. So, first of all, in the past like 2.5 months, I've been working with someone in Orchid who does nonlinear movement as well as trauma work to essentially like reconnect the visceral feelings that one has with like experiences. I'm probably doing a really bad job of explaining that, and maybe one day I'll have the opportunity to let her explain it better. It's not been easy for me, and what's really fascinating is even as I'm saying this to you, I want to tell you, like, I'm sure that there's worse out there, but that doesn't really matter right now. Essentially, what I have experienced in my life has caused me to disconnect from most things in my life. And when I became a parent, I tried to repeat that pattern because that's what's comfortable for me. And it doesn't really work with children because children crave connection. So if you're wondering how I got to where I am right now, that was my motivation. Like, this kid needs connection. I need to give him connection. So, essentially, when bad things happen to us, we have a couple of options. We can flight, we can be afraid, or sorry, flight, fright, freeze. My personal favorite apparently is freeze. And so as a combination of that, my coping mechanism to uncomfortable situations is to shrink. And so it's so crazy to me that like, it's hard for me to admit that my own experiences when we're talking about like women's empowerment and we're talking about like birth trauma and we're talking about like stepping into power, it's very difficult for me to admit that I'm coming from a place of a deficit with that. Like, I'm not starting at the base core. Like, people love Marianne Williamson, and she's a badass. Like, she's amazing. But like, I've read her stuff and I couldn't connect with it. I couldn't get there, and I think it's because I had even more. I had to start from a smaller place, which is sort of ironic for what I'm about to say. So I'm a shrinker. And so when things get uncomfortable, I shrink. When I'm sad, I shrink and get smaller. And I think for most humans, they have come up with an adaptation to help them get bigger again. So maybe that is exercise. One of the best people in the entire world to me, that's hers. When she starts to feel small, she moves big objects and feels strong. And I think that's beautiful. And I think that works. I've tried that. It doesn't work for me, but it's really cool. And what I have found personally, and this is a little bit awkward to admit, but here I am being the big V word, vulnerable. If I don't have a way to step back into power and step back into bigness, I will make myself bigger. So anyway, I've been working on this nonlinear movement, which I love. It's if you've ever had like network chiropractic done, it feels very similar. The ball rising up, starting in the sacrum, going out the top of your head. It's pretty amazing. So I kind of wanted to celebrate the fact that I am starting where most people start now. I feel like I'm caught up. I would say at this point, the hardest part for me in realizing that I'm recreating that pattern again is to see myself shrinking, because I tend to present myself as smart and as empowered. And that's like literally my entire professional goal is to empower other women. And so to admit that I am intentionally stepping away from my power is very difficult. So I would say that for me is like my first trigger to be like, okay, we got to fix some stuff. So, basically, I'm making this video for two things. Number one, trauma is in your cells. The bad things, the good things, we store them inside of us. And the traumas are the things that we are averting animals. We don't want to feel pain, so therefore we will distract ourselves from the pain. We tuck it away. And so as uncomfortable as it may be, and I will tell you that I was really worried about doing trauma work because I was afraid that I would have to feel the trauma again. And that didn't really happen for me. Like I didn't have to relive anything to get to where I am. So if you're afraid of that, as I definitely was, that has not been a thing. So number one, if you have things in your life, if you have traumas, if you have behaviors in your life that are really toxic, to not only, this is the harder part too, not only to the people around you that you love, but to yourself. So your behaviors that are self-limiting, the behaviors that are self-sabotaging, the behaviors that keep you from where you could be, I would highly recommend seeking this person out. I'm not going to put her on blast, so if you want her information, please message me and I will do everything in my power to connect you guys. She is amazing. The second part is that this is Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love. And I had this like big mental like blah in the shower just now, so I wanted to reread this. I'm actually going to read it on camera for the first time since I am willing to admit that I shrink in my own fear. So Marianne Williamson says in A Return to Love, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us. I thought that for a long time too. It's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. In my profession of wanting to empower women, if I am empowered, I can empower others. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence is automatically liberating for others. It is difficult to be in the way, to be big. And yet we squish that out of children. It's so fascinating. My son is in the toddler phase, so he lets it known what he likes and what does not like. And who am I to tell him to stop? So there's my bit of random advice for you today that is completely unchiropractic related. Your traumas will manifest. In pain, they will manifest in your relationships. They will manifest in your anxieties. They will manifest in everything that you care about. I can't tell you to deal with them because some of them are so big and scary that you don't want to. And maybe you shouldn't have to. But stepping into your power is really connecting back with your body and moving forward from what happened to you. Thanks, guys.